9 experienced hikers went into the Ural Mountains. At some point, something happened that frightened them badly enough to cut their way out of their tent in the middle of the night. That single detail is why the Dyatlov Pass case never really died. There are mysteries that stay alive because the evidence is sparse. This one stayed alive because the evidence feels broken. Scattered bodies, confusing injuries, a sequence of decisions that still resists a clean emotional explanation. The case has attracted everything from avalanche theories to military speculation to stranger ideas that spiral much further out. And that is usually where Dyatlov Pass gets messy. Because the louder the theories become, the easier it is to forget what actually makes the case disturbing. It is not just that 9 people died in a remote place. It is that their final actions seem to suggest a sudden crisis that shattered normal judgment almost instantly. In early 1959, a group of experienced hikers set out across the northern Ural Mountains. They were not amateurs wandering into the wilderness by accident. These were people used to harsh conditions, difficult terrain, and disciplined outdoor travel. Their route was demanding, but it was not supposed to become one of the most famous mystery cases in the world. At some point during the journey, the group established camp on the slope of Kholat Syakhl. Later, when the party failed to return on schedule, search teams went looking for them. What they found at the campsite immediately changed the tone of the story. It appeared that the occupants had cut their way out rather than calmly exiting through the normal opening. For many people, that is the most important fact in the entire case. Because if that reading is correct, the hikers were not simply leaving camp. They were escaping something. Or at least, they believed they had to escape immediately. That creates the first hard question. What could force a group of experienced hikers to abandon shelter in brutal nighttime conditions so quickly that cutting through the tent felt like the best option? From there, the story becomes even harder to reconstruct. The bodies were found in stages. Some were discovered closer to the campsite, others were found farther away. Some appeared underdressed for the conditions. There were signs that members of the group had reached the tree line. There were indications of attempts to survive. And then there were injuries severe enough to drive decades of speculation. This is where Dyatlov Pass splits into 2 stories. The first is the documented tragedy. A group leaves a tent in crisis. The freezing environment does the rest. The second is the interpretive void people keep trying to fill. Why did they leave exactly that way? What sequence of decisions followed? And why does the final layout of the scene feel less like one event and more like several overlapping failures happening at once? One reason the case grips people is that it resists intuitive storytelling. A lot of disasters, even terrible ones, can be narrated in a way that feels emotionally linear. This happened, then that happened. Then people reacted in a way we can understand.